Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Welcoming you to Dice All Lights. I am Lunar D8, and I think I have the audio levels better now. This is part 4, Let's Play Chaos Had Noah. This horror visual novel. Beyond that, yeah, I think the audio levels are balanced better. It just seems like the last video I modified a bit to where I'm trying to make my voice didn't do so much clipping, and you can really hear the difference between where my voice was before and after. So, ask you guys to tell me the difference, but, well, made the game audio way too overpowering. So now I think I have everything balanced with one another a bit, so I think it's better, but I also think like when it gets on YouTube, I feel like it's way too quiet. So I assume at this point you have to go like maximum volume on, you know, the viewers' speakers when you guys watch it or listen to it. So it's made the audio a lot quieter. So. And of course I'm still using the headset mic for this. I do have that one other microphone I do have that one karaoke microphone from like 2 years ago, I think. I have that one like podcast microphone. It's like less than $100, I think. I got from Walmart about November, I think, maybe. I think I made one video with it, but it was like it's extremely scratchy and fuzzy. That is, it's just I haven't really worked with that one just because it's easier to use a headset microphone because playing video games. So, but maybe I'll look into that at some point in the future. But for now, it's just nice, preferable to have one I can use while gaming because it'd be awkward to have one that's just standing there in front of me. Because I feel like it wouldn't even pick up my voice at all. Because so that you had to like increase a lot of gain because like I'm so far away from it and like it's right next to me. Well, how am I gonna play the game? Maybe that's a. But yeah, preferences on that. Yeah, I'll try to repeat what I said at the start of the part 3, just because it took place during the little intro movie, which was incredibly loud, which hopefully it's not that loud, but I'll go and exit out of this in case it is still too overpowering. Oh, double check OBS changing, it's staring at it the whole time. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for any games, let me know. I promise nothing, I guarantee even less. The only thing consistent about my channel is a complete lack of professionalism. I'm just some random crazy guy talking to his computer. But I am up for some video game suggestions. Pretty much like I was saying in the previous. Oh no, I think I said that in the Reflex Space game. Or just, yeah, if you have any game suggestions, let me know. Any games you think would be fun. Games similar to Undertale, whereas, like, whether it's something that's a choice-based game, like Genocide or Pacifist, or something where choices matter, or something that you think has a really good story like Undertale, or a really good soundtrack, or the thing where your heart is moving around and you're, like, doing the bullet hell dodging stuff, or just really good platformer, or a fast-paced game like Thumper. I still want a Brave Fencer Musashi 3 and a Mega Man Legends 3. But let's go and hop into this. I do like the music in this game. A house in the foothills overlooking the Seto Inland Sea. In the distance you could hear the whistles of the ships. A salt breeze gently shook the trees around the house. Despite her idyllic surroundings, the small girl in front of the incinerator, Kozue Orihara, was in a miserable state. Her eyes reflected the red light of the fire as she watched the sailor uniform and the textbooks burned to ash in the incinerator. Until yesterday, that had been her uniform, and those had been her textbooks. She was the one who put them in the incinerator, but she must have still felt some attachment to them, because she kept staring at them. Suddenly she winced in pain and put her hands tightly over her ears. She opened her mouth, but that was all she could do. She couldn't moan or cry. All she could do was gasp for breath. She kept shaking her head as if begging for something to stop. Then she collapsed, falling onto the ground. She looked up, exhausted, at the sky. She stayed there, unmoving, for several minutes, and then suddenly she turned around. She was staring at the house's veranda. The house was made of wood, and over 50 years old. Even though it was still daytime, much of the veranda was shrouded in deep shadow, leaving it in darkness. She slowly staggered up and walked toward it. Just then her mother appeared, as if she had been waiting.
あら、梢さん、探してたのよ。もう荷物の整理はできたの？
Oh, Kozue, I've been looking for you. Do you have all of your things together? Kozue nodded and sat on the
あ
veranda.
さってにはもうこの家ともお別れなのね。
In just 2 days, you'll be saying goodbye to this house, huh? Her mother stood behind her and looked at the peaceful
東
centers.
京なんて行くの、梢ちゃんは初めてよね。
It's your first time going to Tokyo, right?
いいお友達ができるといいわね。
I hope you make some good friends there. Kozue didn't reply to her mother's kind words. She didn't shake her head or nod. She just stared sadly at the incinerator in the corner of the yard and the flames that still rose from it. It was a week after, on a school day as usual. I headed to the school in a gloomy mood, staring down at my feet as I went. Fall was clearly at hand. The trees in Shoto Park were changing colors, and I was starting to feel cold in my short-sleeved shirt. Since I spent most of my time in my room, it always felt strange when the seasons changed like this. It still felt like summer to me. I had spent the whole weekend playing ESO. Grim kept asking about Yua, but I just ignored him. Yua hadn't sent me any more messages. Maybe she'd given up when I hadn't replied. Well, no, she probably just has a life. She was busy. I certainly hope so. Whenever I talked to her, I always felt myself wavering. I started to feel hope. But there was no point in a creepy otaku like me having hope. I'd lived my life without ever having hope fulfilled. That's why I'd lost interest in 3D. You are only 17 years old. Please don't make me hope. Please don't have any hopes for me. Suddenly, someone patted me on the shoulder from behind. I turned around, expecting to see Nanami or Misumi, but was surprised. Nishijo! Oh wow, you must have saw me and sprinted here. You shouldn't be out of breath, you're still young. I don't know. She must sprint really hard. Like, still, they're teenagers. They shouldn't get tired while running. Her cheeks were a little flushed, and she was smiling at me. Yay! For some reason, she was out of breath.
後ろ姿が見えたから、もしかしたら西条くんかなって思って走って追いかけちゃいました。
I thought I saw you in the distance, so I ran to catch up with you. Then again, you shouldn't get out of breath just existing. Fuck you. Hadn't she given up? Did she still have hopes for me?
おはようございます、西条くん。
Good morning, Nishijo. Yeah.
やっと言えました。
I
土
finally
日を
got to
含
say
め
it.
て4日
It
も
took
かか
4
ってしまいま
days,
したけど、
counting the weekend.
先週メールを送ったんですけど、
Oh, I sent you an email last week.
読んで
Did you
もらっ
read
てま
it?
す。
Yeah. And like I said, it made sense not to reply that day, because maybe she already went to sleep again. The whole point of email and text is that, well, unlike a phone call, like phone, you have to care about, okay, what's the person doing? Are they sleeping? You don't want to wake somebody up. But a text or email, you can send anytime. They'll look at that whenever they want. But, you know, it was late that one night. Okay, it would make sense probably not to respond immediately that one day. But we should have responded to the email on Saturday. You know, at least by the middle of the day. By the time I realized I nodded, it was too late.
よかった。返事がなかったからてっきり届いていないかと思って何度か送り直そうとしたんですけど、我慢しておいて正解でした。
Good. You didn't answer, so I thought you hadn't received it. I thought about sending it again a bunch of times, but I'm glad I didn't. What did she want me to do? She just wanted some sort of reply. You know, when somebody sends a message, like, okay, is the person getting the message? Did I write down the email wrong? Like, did I fuck up? Is something wrong with my internet? Are they dead? I mean, there is serial killer in this world too. But even then, it's like, even foregoing the horror aspect, it's like, okay, you send someone an email or text, it's like, for the first time, it's like, it's been a few days. Did they actually get it? Do they give a shit? But in this case, I guess, Nishijo doesn't give a shit, which is weird. You know? Like, here's the thing. I, yes, am a bit jaded on certain things, but if I had a scenario where there was an IRL person who was actually sending me emails and text, I would be responding, and I would be grateful for that. Now, granted, if they started sending like 20 fucking emails a day, or saying stuff that is, well, offensive, then yes, I'd have a fucking problem. And I'd be like, yeah, this probably needs to stop. But and heck, probably the morning thing with the stalking was like, okay, she saw me and wanted to talk to me. But was just incredibly nervous. I mean, there's times where I try to, you know, ask a girl out. I saw her, like, walked away for a bit, and I was like, okay, because, you know, nervous. And then be like, okay. And then you walk back toward the person, have a conversation, 5 or so minutes. Obviously, doesn't go well, but hey, you at least try. But the main point is, okay. It's just, aside from the outside circumstance, the fact that there are murders going on, and that we just saw we saw another high school girl, you know, commit murder with supernatural powers. And he's like, oh, you didn't see supernatural powers. There was a dude crucified to a fucking concrete wall. Even if she had a sledgehammer, that's not... And that many? Was I supposed to fall in love with her, be her boyfriend, and then were we supposed to be a happy, loving couple? Dude, you're... Like, this is very presumptuous, a lot of stuff you're like, oh, yes, that's a potential possibility, but, I mean, even if she does have feelings that way, it seems like you're being resentful of the person existing and actually wanting to like you. I mean, that's a good thing. Now, it'd be one thing if you actually knew the person was lying to you, or if you actually knew the person had some ulterior motive. Which, again, you know, sometimes that occurs. You find that out later, and you're like, that makes you feel sad. But, so far, we have no reason to suspect that. So, this is just a really nice person who actually enjoys spending time with us. But that being said, you had the weekend, Joe. You should have thought about it and decided what you feel. Obviously, he doesn't give a shit about anything, so apparently, whatever. But I mean, yeah, just... I kind of feel like Nishijo doesn't deserve a girlfriend because he doesn't actually value other people's thoughts or feelings. He should at least care about how she thinks and feels, and at least have some amount of trust and faith in her. She hasn't actually done anything to deserve this amount of ire or, paranoia. You can still have that toward the rest of the world, but she's at least shown kindness and patience, and actually that she cares and wants to enjoy spending time with us. So whether that's as a romantic partner or just as our friend, that's fucking awesome. We have someone to talk to about things. So cool, yay. But Nishijo, you're being a dumbass. Impossible. That kind of thing was for other people, not me. I wanted to do it, but there was no way I could. But there's nothing stopping you. Like, I understand there actually was something stopping you. And I can understand, the disbelief. Hey, it's a scenario that's far out of the norm for you. Okay. But it just means, okay, you tread lightly into those waters. And that way, you at least know, hey, if shit doesn't work out, if the person breaks up with you, cheats on whatever, like, you don't at least get hurt that bad. Because you at least had some understanding that, hey, there's a good chance this might not work out. Even as a friendship. At which point, okay, I don't have someone to talk to. Fine. But you should at least try. This person has not done anything themselves. And here's the thing. Maybe a difference between this being like, okay, you should at least try as opposed to people that haven't actually expressed interest in being friends. Because then that's, a bit pushy on your part, Nishijo, and that would be wrong. But she's at least, initiated on that, and she's actually in person with you, actually enjoying your company and wanting to see and talk to you. This person finds your existence pleasant and actually seems to care about your well-being. So at that point, you just, okay. Regardless of your own emotional self-esteem issues, accept, her for who she is, and actually be happy and grateful for the person. So yeah. Nishijo, you're being a dumbass. I still don't understand why you would like me. I don't either, man. And honestly, yeah, if I was in your position, I'd be like, yeah, I still don't understand why this person would like me, but I certainly wouldn't push them away. Even if I don't value myself in the way that I think other people should value me, like, basically, like, even if I have a low enough self-esteem of myself that I feel that other people wouldn't care about me, that like, I'm not good enough for them or something, if somebody else has made the decision that I am good enough for them, regardless of how I feel about myself, I mean, I'll feel like it's a bit unusual, yes, but I wouldn't push them away. Heck, if I ever had a relationship, I certainly wouldn't break up with someone just because I thought, oh, I'm not good enough for them. That's fucking dumb. Who the fuck would ever do that? If you do, then obviously you have a different thought process than me. But I'm just saying this. If I'm with someone and I think they're amazing and wonderful, and I enjoy spending time with them, and I like being with them, and I care about them, then even if I feel that I'm worthless, even if I feel like I'm not good enough for that person, if that person wants to be with me, I'm going to be with that person. I'm not going to leave that person, and I'm not going to hurt that person. I will value that person and treat them as precious to me. That being said, if that person, decides to, well, be violent or abusive or psychotic or start yelling horrible things at me or throwing things or basically, you guys get the point. Basically, she has done nothing wrong. So regardless of my own low self-esteem or feeling that I am worthless, or that there's no reason why she should care about me, and that I'm not good enough for her, I'm not going to push her away because of that. I'm not going to push somebody away for that reason. If they see value in me, they want to be around me, they care about me, then yeah, I'll stay with them. I'll care about them. You know, I'll care about them for them, and I'll care about them for the sake of the fact that they care about me. Simply because them having that care and interest and, well, acceptance of me, I find that valuable. I find that special. I find that something worth holding on to. And so in that situation, I certainly would push the person away, and I certainly would make sure to treat them very well, because I appreciate them, and I appreciate them appreciating me. And so, but yeah, that's just the idea of the way Nishio's coming from is just, it's stupid. I mean, maybe other people might think that's normal, but not me. And it's weird because I'm a bit of an otaku and a bit of a recluse myself. But me, like, I'm on the opposite end with this. Like, I'm of the point, and even then I do have reasons to be jaded. That being said, yeah, regardless of how paranoid I am of the world, if somebody took an interest in me like this, was actually being kind to me, and actually liked me. Now, of course, yeah, they start doing something wrong, like being violent, then yeah, there's a concern, and I'm not going to want to be around them. In the same regard, even if my self-esteem is incredibly low, which it is, and I feel worthless, and I feel like I'm not good enough for that person, and there's no reason why they should care about me, and I'm just not good enough for them, I'm not going to break up with a person over that. And that's assuming even we're at the point of a relationship, which we're not. Simply put is this: I'm not going to push a friend away because of some bullshit like that. I'm not going to break up with a girlfriend over some bullshit like that. And I'm not going to push away a girl that, you know, whether she's just a friend or somebody I'm actually even considering dating. That being said, we had the weekend to consider whether we would date her, so I figure in that situation what would be normal, I think, in my opinion, to do, or at least what I would do in this scenario, is probably at least later this day. It'd be kind of weird just to blurt it out right now, but depending on how much time we have before the bell, if it's like 1 minute till the bell, not enough time. But we had like 10 minutes, then there's at least enough time for us to sit down by that little tree, and I could talk to her, and at least tell her straightforward, hey, I like you. Yeah, like you. Like, yes. Not really sure how I would say it. Even though But, main point being, you know, I think when it comes to this sort of thing, if you have a romantic interest in somebody, you should tell them right away. That being said, it's still nice to have friends. It's nice to have people to talk to. But, yeah, in this scenario, I think it would be likely that she at least very strongly enjoys talking to us, because, I mean, she's definitely putting in a lot of effort here. And I think that should be appreciated. But yeah, regardless of my own low self-esteem or paranoia, I wouldn't be pushing somebody away. And I would be grateful for them actually being kind to me and actually enjoying my company and wanting to talk to me. And as long as they didn't do something to, break my trust or hurt me, then yeah, I would just be grateful and happy. So I mean, even if you can't really trust the world, I mean, I think she's at least earned, the right to have that trust and faith. I mean, she's treated us with kindness. So, yeah. I think we should just appreciate her for who she is and be happy that she wants to be around us. Now, if she decides to be violent later, or then we basically stop talking to her in any way and try to get away from her. Unless, of course, you're married to her at that point, at which point you can't really do shit because a lot of laws make it concerning, and then it's like, well, you then have to deal with legal issues before you can get away from the violent, crazy person. Okay. So it was just impossible.
西条くん、どうしたんですか？
Nishijo, what's wrong? I assume what's wrong is Nishijo is proving that it might be important for people in high school years to see a therapist. Or at least Nishijo. Huh?
ずっと立ち止まってるので。
You're just standing there. Yeah, I mean, you should interact in some way. I started to walk fast to leave her behind, but she jogged to catch up with me.
昨日、西条くんのクラスに行ったんですけど、いませんでしたよね。もしかして風邪でもひいて休んでるんじゃないかと思って心配だったんです。
But you weren't there. I was worried you might have caught a cold or something.
でも元気そうでよかった。
I'm glad you're okay though.
たまにしか。
はい。
Right, we only go to school a few days a week. But here's the thing, that was mainly to avoid people, which honestly I'm not sure if I would have taken advantage of that idea if that had been an option in the past. Simply because there were issues on my end with that school, but yeah, you were not able to stay home from school. There was no homeschooling options, especially not since the whole, like, I know nowadays things are different with better technology, internet, and, you know, the changes since COVID and all that with homeschooling. But back then, no, that was not an option. You were required to go to school 5 days a week. You were required. Though nowadays I feel like school's gotten dumbed down a bit, where like I hear about what other people talk with school and just like, I don't know. It all seems like there's a lot more drugs in schools nowadays. Heck, you have all these drugs like meth and fentanyl and metazida somethings. Didn't even exist. Like those things didn't even exist till like what, 30, 40 years ago? I don't think actually meth existed like 20 years ago, right? I don't think that even existed when I was in high school. So I don't think that came around to like what? Late 2000s? And now it's a bit of an epidemic across the country. I don't know.
僕、たまにしか学校来ない。
I only come to school every once in a while.
みんなから引きこもり。
Everybody thinks I'm Hikamori. You're disgusted, aren't you? You learned who I really am, and now you don't like me anymore, right? I mean, it's one thing to expect that, but I mean, at least we're not saying that out loud. But, yeah, we're a bit tentative because, okay, Nishijo's not really had any friends. He's not really had anyone there for him. Obviously, something's got to be fucking wrong if he's living in a fucking shipping container. Like, oh, his dad's supplying a shipping container. The dude owns a giant fucking hotel skyscraper. The dude's apparently fucking rich. And his son's living in a fucking railway car on top of a skyscraper. Like, obviously, he doesn't get along with his family for some reason. Then, of course, school, like I said, who knows, might have been some other stuff going on, but at the end of the day, like, I had a lot of bullying that occurred at school. Granted, it mainly died out by high school, I'd say. Since high school is a 4-year-long thing, I'd say at least by the third year of high school, it pretty much had stopped. You know, people moved on with their lives. So, yay. Still didn't mean anybody actually wanted to be my friend. It was just like, yeah. But hey, I had friends who were people that were younger than me. All the friends I made were people that were 2 or 3 years younger than me. I miss those friends. They're off doing things in other parts of the world. And have their own families and stuff. And that's good for them. I'm happy for them. It'd just be nice if they texted me sometimes. I miss hearing from them. But yeah, I mean, she saw our dumpster on top of a giant building, so she already has a good idea who we are. So she still wants to be our friend. That's her call. If she decides to not like us later, that's fine. We move on. That's fine. Never expected anything in the first place. Go ahead, think I'm creepy, and then just leave me alone.
そうですか。でも今日は会えてよかったです。
I see, but I'm glad we were able to see each other today. I didn't know how to react. I found myself staring into her smile. Our eyes met, and then I quickly lowered my gaze. Why wasn't she treating me like I thought it was creepy? Like she thought I was creepy.
っていうか、たまにでも
And
学校に
anyway,
来てるなら、
if you're coming to school once
西
in a
条くんは
while,
引きこもりじゃないと思います。
I think you can't be a hikikomori.
すいません。
I'm
分か
sorry.
ったようなこと言っちゃっ
That's
て。
really none of my business.
でも
But
苦痛だよ。
it's really hard.
だとしたら偉いです。
If that's true, then I think that's really impressive. She's actually trying to be supportive of you. She's not looking down on you for it, and she's actually trying to give you emotional support. That's really nice of her.
Eh?
We should appreciate that, Nichijo. That wasn't something I ever expected to hear. What was impressive about a loser like me? Yua smiled gently. It was a smile that could heal a wounded heart. That's how it felt.
だって西条くんは辛いのに頑張って学校に来ていますから。
You're coming to school even though it's hard.
普通なら普通は来られないですよ。
Most people just wouldn't come. It's that hard.
でも
Yeah, I had issues with going to school. I didn't like it, but I still did it every day. 5 days a week. Even though everyone was bullying the fucking shit out of me, I also went to Boy Scouts, got Eagle Scout. I also worked about 37 to 39 hours a week at a fast food place. And I got a 4.0, straight A's, honors diploma. I took classes like calculus, physics, chemistry. Again, everyone's like, well, why didn't you go to college? I couldn't fucking afford it.
僕はオタだしキモいし
I'm an otaku, and I'm creepy. Well, like I said, I liked anime back then, but well, it was a little bit more rare for people to like things like Dragon Ball Z back then. And as far as creepy, well, everyone just hated me, so... Creepy basically amounts to, it's that person that doesn't have friends, really.
私西条くんの話を聞くの好きですよ。
I like hearing the things you have to say. Basically saying, hey, it's like, oh, people have issues with the fact that you like anime stuff, but I like listening to anime stuff. I also like watching the anime stuff. I mean, she also watches the show we watch. It'd basically be like finding a girl who has, you know, her own little set of Dragon Balls. And it's like, oh, it's like, what's this in your living room? Oh, that's my Dragon Balls. I keep them there. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good comparison. Heck, at one point I did have a girlfriend who, she was really into football. So was her family. I've never really been somebody who really enjoys sports. But I would sit and watch the football games with her and her family. And that was nice. I enjoyed it. Her parents really liked me. Though her and her sisters really didn't seem to get along. But I think that's normal. I mean, usually most siblings do tend to argue with each other. Grantedly, I'm a guy and all my siblings were sisters. But I've noticed that siblings of the same gender tend to argue quite a bit. Because two of my best friends, they are brothers. I'm best friends with both of them, and they would argue and fight a bit. They seem like they love each other a lot, but they also would like argue and get pissed and angry at each other like really bad to the point that I'd have to like try to tell them to stop fighting each other. Because, you know, one, they're my friends. I don't want either of them to get hurt, but also, guys, I'm enjoying spending time with you. I don't want my friends to fight. But it seems like siblings that are the same gender seem to really fight a lot. Even to the point that they become physical confrontations. So I've noticed people that are sisters seem to fight and yell and scream and even try to punch each other. And I've also noticed that people that are brothers will also try to yell and scream and get pissed off at each other and get into fights and basically wrestle around or throw things at each other. So, I don't know. I assume that's normal? Because that's just what I've observed in, you know, other people. Okay. What? Why was she telling me this? Why did it feel so good? Because someone actually likes talking to us. It felt like she was holding me in a warm embrace. Yeah, we feel appreciated. Yay! Or like she was telling me that it was okay for me to be here. Yeah, I definitely did not feel okay being at school or most places. Hell, that's true of a lot of other places, even in recent times. But that's just a lack of any sort of anyone actually wanting me there. And other negative influences. But yeah, that's basically what this is. Person's like, yeah, you want to actually feel like it's normal and you're actually like you belong. Or that she was telling me that it was okay for me to be here. Maybe with her help, I could go back to being a normal person.
大変予礼ですよ
Oh no, that's the first bell. Ah, we didn't have that long, damn. Suddenly I realized that there were barely any students left around us. They'd all gone inside the school building.
西条くんそれじゃあ私失礼します
Alright, Nishijo, I'll see you later.
今日の放課後時
Are
間あ
you
り
free
ますか
after school? Yes, I don't think Nishijo has a job.
え
But the fact that she's asking to see us later after school, that's really nice. And everyone's like, well, is that just because she's a girl? No. And yeah, it does influence that a bit. But that also just is an extra layer of, okay, that's awesome. But in general, hey, somebody wants to be our friend and hang out with us, and they're like, hey, you want to spend time together? Yes. Because I know there were some times when I was younger, heck, even when I would be working in my early 20s, I'd, like, some of my friends were, you know, still around, and they were like, hey, we're having a party or something. I'm like, cool. And I'd basically try to hang out with them any chance I got. Heck, I know there were sometimes I got a brand new video game I'd been really looking forward to, and then one of my friends mentioned that, hey, you want to come over? I'm like, hell yeah. And I was like, yeah, because the game will wait for me. I'll come back to it. It's just a video game. Yeah, video games are enjoyable. I enjoy them a lot. But a video game I can go to at any point. Whereas a friend, okay, a friend wants to do something, sure, I'll go do that, as long as they're not too tired physically. And usually that was only an issue of, like, I was working a shit ton of overtime. But then again, there were some times, like, with my friends, like, okay, I'd be working like 60 to 70 hours a week at a certain job. And my friends would be like, hey, you want to hang out? I'm like, sure. And so I'd go to hang out with them, but it would require I'd, you know, skip sleeping. And I was still young enough I could do that back then. You know, I think, heck, in particular that one time I was like, what, 19? So they were still in high school themselves at that point. And I was like working a shit ton of overtime. But they're like, hey, you want to hang out? Like, sure. And so on my weekend, like, I'd spend most of the weekend just hang out with my friends. Because I enjoyed spending time with them. I looked forward to spending time with people. Though I definitely couldn't do that anymore. I'm exhausted all the time anymore, so I'm getting old. And I get tired easily now. Also, there are no people. So, yeah. People aren't real anymore. So that is what it is. Like, so what do you mean by that? Like, everyone's gone. It's like they live in other places and they're too busy. But still, it'd be nice if they texted me. At least, and also, it seems like everyone's changed socially since the whole COVID thing, since the whole lockdowns. It seems like everyone is much more like everyone's become a recluse to a degree, and it's much more weird trying to talk to people. Like everyone's much more standoffish, but that's understandable. Society went through a major change, and everyone's just sort of. That being said, where on earth do you actually meet or talk to people in a way that is not considered creepy anymore? Because I feel like the rules for like social interaction has changed since the whole COVID pandemic. But still, she's actually, one, initiating, which that's appreciated, and two, she's actually wanting to spend time with us. So yeah, let's do that. I mean, if we had more games than just the one game, we could probably play those games with her. Or maybe go over to her house, meet her family.
もしよかったらその
If you don't mind,
帰りましょう
could we go home together? Yeah, sure. We can walk home and we can sit and play. I mean, if you have like a Sega Genesis or something, I don't know what is this, PS3 era or something? But I'm sure like we can play a video game over there. And I don't know, maybe there's like a park or something near where you live we can head out to. That way we can actually sit outside and actually, it looks like it's a really nice day outside. So, well, no, I'm not going to suggest we fly a kite. That would be nerdy. I mean, I do like flying kites, but I'm terrible at them. Also, it's never windy enough for it. She spoke softly, her cheeks turning a little red.
放課後中庭で待ってます
I'll be waiting in
もし気が向いたら
the courtyard after school.
くだ
If
さ
you
い
decide you want to come.
無理に来なくても全然平気ですから
Oh, but don't feel like you have to.
失礼します
Bye. Well, that's extremely courteous. Oh, yeah, and very polite. Yeah, that's a very courteous and very... Like, she's going out of her way to not only initiate, but also not to put undue pressure on us. So that's really nice of her. I appreciate that. She bowed politely and headed off to the third-year wing. As I watched her go, I pinched my cheek, just as I thought this wasn't a dream or a delusion. I spent the whole day's worth of classes in a daze. I don't think I heard a single thing the teacher said. I just rested my chin on my hand and stared out the autumn sky. Neither my classmates nor the teachers paid the slightest bit of attention to me. But Yua paid attention to me. She wasn't like the rest of those assholes. Honestly, most of the time I just wanted no one to pay attention to me because everyone was treating me like shit in school. I eventually learned that I would rest my head and just sort of ignore everyone. So because I got used to the idea that if I look at people, they would spit on me. If I look at people, they would throw things at me. There were several times where I'd be resting my head and I had to basically suddenly jolt up to catch a fist because somebody was going to punch me because I was just sitting there not looking at anybody. So they decided to walk up to me and just try to, it's kind of hilarious. They just fucking cock their fucking fist back to try to punch me while I'm just sitting there. And I catch a fist. Granted, the bad thing about trying to catch a fist, sometimes you catch it, sometimes you don't. And it misses, it just hits you in the face. And then, there's a fight. But it was normal. You learned, don't look at people. Or they will hurt you. Because basically what would happen is okay, you're sitting there and you just sort of glance around the room and you look at someone briefly for a second. And you wind up hearing, hey, what the fuck are you looking at? And so you just sort of look the other way. Ignore it. It's okay, if you look at people, even briefly, even glance at them, they will want you to die. If you talk, they will hurt you. If you interact with other human beings, they will hurt you. I'll say this, it is interesting walking down a sidewalk and having people throw things at you out of their fucking car doors. Have a fucking soda thrown at you. Have it. What if I had a donut thrown at me? I also had urine thrown at me. I also had baseballs thrown at me. I also had rocks thrown at me. So I had a brick thrown at me. Still, that's like 20 years ago. Stuff. 20 plus years. You'd think shit like people drop kicking you in the back of the legs, pushing you downstairs, hitting you with pieces of metal, threatening you, calling you horrible names thousands of times a day, having people in every single classroom in the entire building constantly hate you for no reason, everyone constantly telling you to die, people strangling you, people chokeholding you, people throwing a rope around your neck, people knocking you down and kicking you in the ribs, getting beaten 5v1. I think that stuff would... Yeah, you just move on, but at the same time, it's like... One, lack of positive influences, but also more to the point is this. We're playing a game about somebody in a high school setting. This guy's only real issue is that, okay, the people just don't really want to talk to him, I guess. That's not really that big of a deal. You at least have one dude, you should just talk and him more and... You know, I'm just saying, I'm comparing my experience with his, and granted, don't get me wrong, I can understand the whole thing, okay, no one paying attention to you, that's, in of itself, understandable, but you don't really go to the school that often, you're not really going around people. Now, it'd be one thing if you had actually been trying to go up and talk to them, and you had been failure after failure after failure, at which point you're like, okay, you learn your lesson, you get the point. But I don't get the intent. I don't get the impression that you've tried that Nishio. So, was it Nishio Akuma? Yeah, so I don't get the idea that you've been doing that, Akuma. But, yeah. Even if everything was better, still, it's nice that Yua is the way she is, that she, is someone who likes us and enjoys spending time with us. Now, of course, we should still be on our guard because, we saw a fucking person get murdered a couple days ago or so, a week ago. And there's a serial killer killing people, so that's something to be concerned about, yes. I don't know if things were, and like I said, part of me was apprehensive about the idea of even going to college anyway. Because it's like, well, are people going to treat me the same as they did before? But even then, it wasn't an option because I couldn't fucking afford it. I did spend some time working in factories, saving up money, helping pay rent for my parents, and paying my own stuff like a car and stuff. But, a lot of colleges were just still seemed a bit too expensive. Then there was like one college like, hey, this one thing would be cheaper. And, there was a lot of other people doing it too. Tried that, turned out to be a scam, I lost all my savings, and I still was required to pay payments on a student loan that was bullshit. Though eventually the government, the US government, sent me a letter saying that that was no longer required, and that basically they decided that everybody that owed money to this organization was no longer having to pay anymore because they decided that the place was a criminal organization and that they were basically being prosecuted for fraud and a bunch of other things. Still didn't get back all the money I spent, or all my savings. So that kind of financially fucked me. Since that, I worked various manual labor type jobs. Hell, I've worked fast food restaurants, I've worked in warehouses. I worked at one job where I was having to breathe and ingest powdered metal and powdered paint. I've worked inside deep freezers that were like below zero. And for a while there, I was working at a factory for a little company called Skynet. I was building T-800s. So I spent quite a few years doing that. But eventually that place just kept racing quotas. They were mismanaging stuff. They were pissing me off with the way they were being about how they were doing things at the company. Plus, all the overtime. My health was also declining. Hell, the way I was having to move was putting too much torque on my knees. So, anytime I'd even be laying down in bed, my knees would be throbbing in pain. So, I quit that basically a month ago. Been living on savings. My knees feel better. And my back still feels a little bit of aches here and there, but I think that's maybe just the way I'm sitting in this chair. But my shoulders and my knees feel better. Been trying to jog a bit. A few times I've tried to do some fasting stuff, but between the fasting and even just some stuff at the gym, I was pushing stuff too hard. So I've been having to take breaks from working out to recover from injuries because, it was just sort of straining muscles in my arms or in parts of my leg. But like I said, at least my knees don't hurt. And those shoulder blades feel better. And like I said, my back is mainly better. It's just maybe a tiny bit of an ache here and there. And of course, I was having a great deal of migraines and chest pains there when I was working. I was probably going to die of a heart attack. I still have occasional, chest pains a little bit, but nowhere near as bad and nowhere near as frequent as it was when I was working. Then again, I was double fisting energy drinks to wash down caffeine pills and Advil and Tylenol in order to do that damn job. And I was just so fucking miserable all the time. Granted, yeah, I do have other emotional issues that I have, but I can deal with those just fine. It's just when I was at work, it was exacerbating it. So the psychological issues were getting a bit more difficult for me to deal with. Then again, not like it really matters in the long run because, well, the company I was working for was already having financial problems. They were already having to start to lay off some people. And, yeah, honestly, I'd say in 2 years, I don't think that company's going to exist anymore. If they do, it'll be a shell company bought out by other interests that'll wind up investing in it and taking over majority shares. Just that company was going downhill. Everybody was on edge. Everybody in that building was literally about to snap. And it was just, and there were instances that were starting to occur that were, I know sound dumb, but were making me think about stuff from the past. And it's just, that was definitely emotionally getting to me. But yeah, again, at the end of the day, why did I quit? Well, I talked about it in the community posts, but it's mainly just, the place was fucking garbage. I mean, I was grateful for it, and I appreciated the fact that, it paid my rent. I made enough money. Heck, through all the overtime I worked, I was able to eventually buy this computer, which is, 3.5 years ago. And dig out of a hole when it comes to certain financial issues. And, well, I was able to make enough savings to not have to work for a while so I could spend some time recovering. But yeah, as it was, I was going to die of a heart attack. The way and also my knees were in constant pain. I was pretty sure my tendons were giving out. So yeah, had I stayed, I would have permanently screwed up one of my knees. I would have basically crippled myself for life. But more importantly is this. With all the caffeine I was having, at times I was having over a gram of caffeine a day. And even then, I was exhausted a lot of times. Granted, I'm tired making these videos to a degree. I'm yawning during the videos, but I haven't had an energy drink in a fucking month. I miss my Red Bulls and Full Throttles and Rock Stars and all that shit. I miss my energy drinks. That being said, I'd also hope to lose a shit ton of fat and build some muscle. Like, the idea was like, hey, I'm going to have a six-pack. I still feel like, yes, I'm going to have a six-pack. It's not if, it's when. I'm going to, even though I'm old. Metabolism apparently gets slower as you get older. And also, apparently, it's unrealistic to expect to lose like 80 pounds of fat, you know, in a month. But I still feel like I should have made some progress. I mean, I can reach down and I can pinch that I have a belly. I'm fat. I flex my arm. I don't really have a bicep. So, everyone's like, you can't build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Yes, but it didn't mean I didn't want to try. It didn't really work. And I basically kept overexerting myself. Because I was, one, trying to eat too little. And two, yeah, there's limitation to how much you can do at a gym, or else you just wind up getting super exhausted and your body just wants to not move for a while. On the plus side, I have been sleeping better now. I was, for years when I was working, I was sleeping 3 hours a day for years. So I'm at least sleeping a normal amount. You know, I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day. And I'm usually falling asleep for another half hour or so at some point during the day. So I think we're at least recovering on the sleep deprivation, and our knees are recovered. Though I'm still getting out of breath from time to time, but I think that's a separate thing. But for the most part, I'm recovered. I'm just not athletic. I'm trying to go to the gym and try to improve that stuff. You know, improve my health, also improve aesthetics. I mean, I want to be, kind of attractive to look at. I don't like being unpleasant to look at, but it's just... I made the video, a couple months ago. Live stream, webcam. Apparently. But yeah, you can see, I have a big-ass fucking beer gut. Let's see. Let me back. Let me weigh myself real quick. Okay, I'm back. It says 215 pounds. Well, 215.8 pounds. So basically 216 pounds. I'm 5'11". So I'm 5'11", 216 pounds. What is that in? I know 5'11" is 108. No, that's 100 kilo. That's 100. I'm gonna have to do that again. Google versions. How many centimeters? How many centimeters is 5'11"? Okay, so I'm 180.3399 centimeters. How many kilograms is 200? I am 97.976 kilograms. That being said, I haven't eaten since last night. Everyone's like, we don't know what time it is. There's no fucking context. True, it's 7:25 Eastern Standard Time, March 12th, 2024. So it's right now it's 7:25 p.m. and I haven't eaten since I think 6 o'clock p.m. yesterday. So, you know what? I'm going to go to Dairy Queen. I want some ice cream. I really like the soft serve ice cream there. So, you know what? After I record this video, I'm going to go to Dairy Queen. I'm going to get a cheeseburger. I assume fries or something with that. And I'm going to get a soft serve chocolate ice cream. You know, there's one time I saw this Godiva store. There's this place. It's this thing that sells chocolate. Now, those don't exist anymore. It was like back in like, what, 2015, 2016 or something. It had like a dark chocolate soft serve ice cream. Granted, it was overpriced even for back then. Oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine what it would be now with inflation. But it was delicious. It was really good. So that was... And of course, there's other places that probably have different flavors of soft serve. It'd be interesting to try, but I'm sure there's some flavors that would probably sound gross to me. But yeah, you know, after this video, I'm gonna go get some Dairy Queen because I want some Dairy Queen. I want ice cream. I want a cheeseburger. Probably should also get some more fucking tea or something because it's just this fucking jug of water here. I forget what we're talking about other than the fact that I'm a fucking fat ass. And it's like, oh, we were just complaining that I'm fat. And I'm so fat, I'm ugly and horrible to look at. But I'm going to go get ice cream. I love ice cream, okay? Well, we can tell because how fucking fat you are. I mean, obviously you love to eat. Well, it makes me happy, okay? I like eating delicious food. They also want to cook an omelet. That'd be nice. What do you guys put in your omelets? Like when you cook an omelet in the skillet, what do you guys put in there? Also, pancakes or waffles? A lot of times I'll just cook pancakes. What I'll do is I'll mix a little bit of waffle batter in with pancake batter. And everyone's like, what's really the difference between waffle and pancake? Well, the main difference is that there's a little bit... One, there's eggs in waffles. And two, there's a few other different changes in the type of oil that you use. There's also other reasons, but I can't remember off the bat. All I know is it's pre-made. Like the little powder stuff. But it's like there's stuff that's made for pancakes, stuff meant for waffles. And I'll mix it. He's like, yes. Yes, I am fat. I will eventually have a six-pack. But also, I like to eat, okay? I like food. Yes, I know. I know I'm a fat ass. But it's fine. Whatever. I like the food. I like the ice cream. I like, you know, a delicious meal. I like food. I like things like pizza and cheeseburgers. They are delicious. I also like cooking things like mashed potatoes, you know, pastas, stuffing. Everyone's like, what's stuffing? It's like this mixture of bread stuff that's usually served at Thanksgiving, but I just buy boxes of it and cook it throughout the year. Heck, sometimes I'll make like homemade pork chops and stuff. Like, you know, what do you mean? Well, I'll buy pork and I'll like buy the box of shake and bake and I'll bake pork chops. Oh, so you guys ever cook like fried potatoes? You take potatoes, you wash them, you peel them, then you wash them again, then you chop them up, and then you add salt and butter, and you cook it in a skillet. It's delicious. It's also really good if you cook some like bratwurst with it. Not in the same skillet, of course. It wouldn't cook right. But you cook it bratwurst, and then you take the bratwurst out, put it in a hot dog bun, Add stuff like ketchup, mustard, sauerkraut, maybe some pickle relish if you want, or onions, but or stuff like make it into a chili dog. And everyone's like, you wonder why you're fucking fat. Just saying, I like good food, okay? I sat there the whole day thinking about her and indulging in one delusion after another. And before I knew it, school was over.
Yo, Taku.
Hey, Taku.
今日もデート
Another
か
date today?
この前のメガネのことは
Things are
うまく
going
い
well
っ
with
て
that
るん
girl
だろ
with
う
the
な
glasses, right?
おいおいニー
Hey,
トだからって躊躇
don't
して
tell
ん
me
な
you're
よ
holding back just because you're a
向こうが
neat.
お前のこと気に
She
入ってく
likes
れて
you,
んなら
whether you decide
付
to
き合
date
う
her or
か
not.
付き合わないかはともかく
It's just polite to
やっ
have.
てしまう
What?
の
No!
が礼儀
No! Dude. No. If we're going to fuck her, it's only going to be because we have an interest in having a relationship. We're not going to just go around fucking people. How do you not have like 20 STDs, man?
そんなことしないよ。
Seriously, like, I've heard like the rate of STDs has gone through the roof lately, which also has me a little apprehensive about ever returning to the dating scene, provided that anybody actually wanted to ever fucking date me. So it's like saying, hey, you're worrying about the prices of croissants in France, but I'm never actually going to go to France. I'm not sure if that would actually be good to go to. I imagine there may be places in France you don't want to go to. Just like there's parts like, you wouldn't want to go like deep parts at New York City, because, you know, usually any city that has a massive population has more crime. If I ever go to France, I'll have to ask some French VTuber, hey, what parts of France should I go to? Though, like I said, I do want to learn Japanese and German. Though I do have an interest in trying to learn French and Hebrew eventually, too. The funny thing is, I did take 3 years of Spanish in high school, to the point that on the third year of it, we were doing like improv essays, where like they would just tell us the, the topic of the essay right before we were going to write it, and we had to write a 500-word essay in Spanish. I could do it just fine, but I can't remember any Spanish. I didn't have any interest in the language. It was just the only language available to be taught. But I haven't used it since, and I just don't have any interest in it. It's just, I don't find anything pleasurable about the language. But, one, Japanese is, I like a lot of anime, so obviously that's given me an interest in the Japanese language. And German, it's just, I think that's mainly Rammstein, just because I was really big into listening to Rammstein a lot. So, yeah. But, like I said, French is supposed to be a romance language, and of course Hebrew, because, you know, I'm religious, so I believe in God and everything, and it'd be interesting to be able to read older books. Heck, I guess that could also apply to things like Greek or Latin, then. Plus, there's like 3 different forms of Hebrew. There's like the older version, the Greek version, and Yiddish, which is like a German dialect of it. But again, that would be the last one I'd get to. I think if I were to learn anything, I would want to learn German and Japanese at the same time. And then maybe, I don't know, leaning more to German, but just because I think it would be easier for me to pick up, says the person who still procrastinated on even learning the Keine Liebe song. I'll get to that later today, okay? When are you going to make the VTuber model? Eventually. I'll get to it. I'm distracted. I like played a game. But yeah, I think I would want to try to focus on German and Japanese. And then I think I might do French, just because, again, I think that would be much easier to pick up than Hebrew. Plus, there's only one form of French, I think. And, well, it's a Romance language, and it sounds nice when other people say things in French. But, like, I've done one video where I tried to sing in French, and I feel like I did the language dirty. I feel like I'm not good at it. But maybe that would come in time. I don't know. But then again, like I said, I'm also trying to go to the gym, trying to go to bike trails, walk and jog, trying to learn how to juggle, trying to spend some time actually drawing and spend some time playing my guitar, basically some Metallica riffs and stuff like that. Yes, I still have my books of System of a Down, but I don't want to switch back and forth because System of a Down is in a CGC tuning, so it's a full drop tuning with an additional drop on the lowest string. And most music, say Metallica, is in standard tuning. I don't want to have to constantly change tuning back and forth. I'm lazy, okay? Fuck you. I'm going to play a video game where I'm not actually doing anything, I'm just reading. I'm not even paying attention to the game correctly. So I keep going off tangents and I can't stop. Try not to. And then, I'm going to go get some Dairy Queen. Some ice cream and a cheeseburger. Because I'm a fucking fat ass, and even though I want to get a six-pack, I also really like ice cream. It's delicious. Okay. Forget what we were talking about. Something about ice cream. I don't know. Right, I want to try to learn to speak German. I will try. Like I said, I also want to learn Japanese and French. But more in that order. German, then Japanese, then French. What countries would you go to travel? I mean, if I was rich, obviously I'd probably check out England and the UK a little bit. Maybe Scotland, France, Germany, Japan, Australia. Maybe other parts of America could be interesting. I don't know. Part of me thought, oh, well, Canada. Like, it's too cold. I was just remembering one of the 90s comedy stand-ups that Jim Carrey did. Jim Carrey's wearing this really, I don't know. It's not a fractal, but it's not plaid either. It's a bunch of various colors, I think yellow and blue and red and orange and stuff. A bunch of square pattern stuff. But it's not plaid and it's not fractals. But Jim Carrey's doing a stand-up comedy. I think it's 90s. And he's talking about how he's from Canada, and he every now and then everyone would always assume it's cold there all the time because of where it is. And he's he just learned to embrace it. He's yes! Ah, oh Canada. It was so cold. Me and Nantucket, we had to build an igloo to survive the elements or else we would freeze to death. The Arctic wastelands of Canada. I'm just saying, I live in a place that I think the coldest temperature we ever had was -20 Fahrenheit. But in general, usually it only gets to about -5 most winters, but winter usually tends to stay around 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Whereas summer, I'd say usually stays around 80s, 90s. I mean, there was a time where it went above 100 a few times. But in general, I'd say the coldest part of winter would be -5, and the hottest part would be 105. But in general, it'd be a normal cold winter might drop down to 5, and a normal hot summer might be up to 95 on certain days. But I'd say in general, mostly what I would expect during winters would be, 15 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Granted, the weather changes quite frequently. The weather can be a bit moody. You can have some days it feels like you can have 5 different seasons in one day. But I'd say we never really get too extreme. It's it's not like we're getting feet and feet and feet of snow, or it's not like we're in fucking Death Valley. It's not like I live in a fucking desert, and it's not like I live in the fucking Antarctic Circle. It's not oh, where are we going? Well, I'm gonna go visit Santa Claus. Are you now imagining a hentai with a bunch of big titty elves? Yes, but we didn't have to share that with everyone else. They didn't need to know that. But now they do. I forget what the fuck we're talking about. I forget what your name is. Kaoru. Kaoru Nagisa, right? So I forget what we're talking about. Okay, Akuma. Akuma, we're gonna hang out with Yua later, right?
おいなんだよいきなり大声出して
Why are you so loud?
ユアとはそんなことしない。
I'm not doing things like that with Yua.
は
Huh?
お前まだ言ってんのなんで最
Are you
初
still
から
talking
諦めるんだ
that
よ
Why are you giving
そ
up
ろそ
before
ろ
you
引き
even
こもりから
started?
卒業しようぜ
Isn't it about time you graduated from being Hikikomori?
僕は引きこもりじゃない。
I'm not a Hikikomori. That's not what I meant anyway. Misumi only cared about sleeping with girls. He wouldn't understand. Yeah, that's... How do you not have 20 STDs, man? I mean, yeah, it's definitely healthy to have a sex drive and want to... But you should only be sleeping with one person at a time. And you should actually have, emotional, feelings for them. I don't know. I guess other people are different, but still... Yeah, that's... You live your life, man. Just... Make sure to wear a condom. So you don't, get, AIDS or something. I ran past a confused-looking Misumi and quickly left the classroom. The fastest way to get the courtyard from the second-year classrooms was to go across the connecting corridor to the third-year students' building and then head down the stairs, at least as far as I knew. I didn't come to school that often, so I didn't know what led where. I didn't even know where some places like most of the special classrooms were. So I was a little nervous when I went down the connecting corridor. You're in the intro movie. There was a girl standing in the middle of the corridor, staring up at the sky. She had a very stern expression on her face. She didn't seem lost in thought or anything like that. But yeah, you're in the intro movie. There was also that one girl that was singing with a really nice voice that we saw in the middle of a city one day, and also there was a one girl with a sailor uniform, but I don't know if she's real or not. But yeah. You are important just because you're in the intro cutscene. She was clearly in a place that would block traffic, but she wasn't moving at all. Come on, I know you hear my footsteps getting closer. Get out of the way, I'm in a hurry. I mean, it's not a narrow corridor. We can walk around her, right? For some reason, she felt like a DQN. I needed to make sure not to get closer or let her notice me. Just as I tried to walk past the girl, who I decided to call Girl B.
Oi.
Hey. Crap, she talked to me. Was she going to mug me? What? One, it's a school. Two, all she said was, hey. Or was she going to say she didn't like my face and then take me to her group of DQ and friends so they could beat me up? Dude, have you ever actually been in that scenario? Usually they just come to you with the group already. Please, no. What did I ever do to you? Did we say that out loud? I glanced over her to find that she was glaring at me. Okay, what's up?
お前誰だ
Who are you? Okay, that's odd to ask, but sure, I'm Akuma. I wasn't sure how to answer. You have a name! Takumi? I mean, that's kind of Akuma. Okay, I'm kind of remembering it right. I was Takumi, Akuma, Takumi, Nishijo. Obviously, but I'd never met this girl. So there's no way she would know that. She must be planning to do something terrible. Why? She hasn't done anything. I mean, granted, her expression is slightly stern, but that's nothing for us to be so fucking, I don't know, defensive about.
すいません。
Sorry. I bowed quickly, being careful not to look at her, and then ran away at top speed. I ran down the staircase in third year wing, and out the doors, then glanced behind me. The scary girl didn't seem to have followed me. Dude. This is... It's a bit excessive, man. Dude, the 3D world was an awful place. There were traps everywhere. I took a few deep breaths and looked around the courtyard. The courtyard was between the pool and the school building, and was really more of a corridor than a yard. There were flower beds placed at regular intervals where purple flowers bloomed. What were those flowers called? I didn't know. Why? What's... You look kind of sad. I saw Yua standing in front of one of the flower beds, staring at it while she waited. Okay, I'm a little confused about the expression, but okay. She was really here. She was really here waiting for me. Not for anybody else, just for me. Yua wasn't going to betray me. Maybe I could believe in her after all. Maybe she could save me. Oh. Yua looked up and noticed me. And then her eyes went wide in surprise. I stood there looking away in embarrassment. I didn't know if it was okay to walk up to her or not. Why was she surprised? Did I mess up by coming? As I tried to figure out what to do, she ran up to me.
びっくりしました。
You surprised me. I mean, we did run out there pretty fast, so maybe it was like a sudden noise. Huh?
西条くんが本当に来てくれるなんて。
You really came.
どうせ来てもらえないって。
I'd almost given up because I thought you weren't coming. Wait. Okay, so you're having a sad expression because you thought we ditched you. But I thought we came here straight after because, you know, class ended, and then Mishima Hayachi talked to us for like a second, and then we bolted out of the room, ran down a corridor, said hi to some girl for some reason for like 2 seconds, and then we continued to run, and then we made it straight here to where you were waiting. So shouldn't I be early? I mean, I should have beat you here, right? I should be here before you. How are you waiting on me? Then again, I guess maybe my concept of time is bad. There's times I've spent like 7 hours straight just like pacing my living room talking to myself. Sometimes I'll even talk to... Granted, I'm not like talking to myself like... I'm not crazy, but, you know, talk to like imaginary people. Like, say, you're having a 3-way conversation with, say, Goku and Moses. Or say you're walking down the bike trail and you're just talking to yourself and you're just having a conversation with Morgan Freeman. Not real Morgan Freeman, imaginary Morgan Freeman. Or just spending time thinking about stuff, whether it's life things, religious things, or making fictional scenarios with different anime characters. Yes, I told you I'm weird. No one should be listening to me at this point. Why are you here? Why? How could anyone find it enjoyable to listen to me ramble about, well, I'm insane? Hey, it's lonely otaku guy who's weird and insane and lost his fucking mind. And has no value as a person because he can't do anything right and everything he does is a fucking failure. What interest is there in listening to me? That being said, it's like I was playing like, what, Celeste, I think. I tried to go back to that. And it's like, I was like, yeah, who finds this enjoyable? It's just me yelling a cuss word over and over and falling in a fucking hole. It's like, it can't be fun, right? It's like, whether it's me playing a rage game and fucking up and being shitty at it. And everyone's like, oh, you can't be that bad. You beat Super Meat Boy. I'm like, yes, but I did that by brute force method. It wasn't skill. There was no skill in me beating Super Meat Boy. It was just me just yelling at it really loud, lots of cuss words, until I eventually just outlasted the bullshit. It was just me trying it over and over and over again. I didn't get any better. There was no skill. It was just me just refusing to give up until I beat it. I had fun playing the game, though. As my voice is getting scratchy. It's just I was yelling. So, and this thing is like, oh, why? If you yell in a game, are you not enjoying it? Like, let's be clear. It's just nice to vent emotions, whether it's actual emotional upsets about real life stuff, or it's just, even if you're leading the most happy life in the world, it's nice to play a game and just yell at it and like I say, fucking bitch, motherfucker. I don't know. I feel like there's a frog in my throat. My voice is like aged by 1,000 years. It's like I am now Gandalf. Gandalf the wise. Saruman the silly. Saruman the stupid. Saruman the stinky! Yes, I'm making fun of a fucking YouTube joke. It's a comic joke, like a little cartoon. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. I forgot what we're talking about. I'm sorry. Everyone's like, you said you would stop going off on tangents to talk about random bullshit. I'm trying. I'm trying really hard to just play the damned game. Probably in the future, I'll probably do this to some degree in the future, but I'm going to try to just not be insane, okay? It's a work in progress. Then again, part of the channel is just me talking about a filter, because in real life you have to be much more quiet and you can't talk about stuff. And even then, a lot of stuff is just very personal stuff to where, granted, there's still a lot of things I don't talk about on here because it's too personal even for this. But there's things I talk about here that, I can't talk about with anybody. Heck, there's things that, I haven't talked about. Any family, friends, relationship partners, ever. Then again, like I said, I've had depression since I was a little kid. I never told a single person I was dating or in a relationship with, ever. Like, I'm not going to tell the person, like, oh, by the way, I have depression, or about stuff of the past and shit. I'm not going to tell them about that. That's my own personal shit to deal with. And granted, if they want to open about their stuff, that's fine. Whatever. But I'm not going to force that out of them, and I'm not going to open up about my stuff. I mean, I'm not going to tell somebody about my own depression and shit like that. No. But this place, I can basically just talk about whatever, and it's basically just an online diary of absolute cringe that's made public for people to listen to, in case, one, maybe if other people feel the same way as me. But more so, I enjoy Let's Plays. So, I decided to just start making Let's Play videos. I'm never going to make a cent off this. I'm never going to be monetized. I don't know why YouTube would ever want to monetize me. But even if YouTube wanted to monetize me, I would tell them no. I'm never going to have sponsors. I'm never going to have like a Patreon or super chats or merchandise. It's not like I'm ever going to have like a brand like, oh, buy Lunar D8 brand t-shirts or energy drinks or some bullshit. I'm just a guy who enjoys Let's Play video games. I remember watching like Ultra J-Man and Proton John SA back in the past, or like Super Mario ROM hacks back before Mario Maker even existed. I really enjoyed Let's Plays and the YouTube videos. And I wanted to make Let's Plays even back then, but I didn't have the money or the tech. And then eventually I did. So, because tech became more available and cheaper, and I had more money. And I greatly enjoy making these videos. But a lot of times it sort of just devolves into me talking about whatever's on my mind. But I enjoy Let's Play video games. I enjoy humor and comedy. So, mainly I'm trying to make a Let's Play channel. Grandly, I'm never going to make a cent off of it. I never plan to be monetized. So whatever. So I'm never going to make any money off this, ever. Even if I had like 1 million fucking subscribers, I still wouldn't monetize this shit. I just want to make the videos. I enjoy making the videos. I wanted to make the videos for a long time, and I just couldn't, and now I can, and now I'm making videos, and I enjoy it. And as long as I have access to internet, and I can do this, provided I eventually get another job so I don't, not be able to pay rent and shit, I'm going to keep making these videos for the rest of fucking time. At least until World War III. Once the electrical infrastructure of the world goes down and there's nukes everywhere, I guess I can't do the videos anymore. But as long as, I'm physically able to make YouTube videos, I'm going to make YouTube videos because I enjoy doing it. That being said, yeah, I do random bullshit. I usually just do whatever the fuck I feel like. Sometimes it's videos where I just talk about stuff. Heck, even a lot of times these Let's Play games, sometimes I'll play a game and like there's something going on in the story that's makes me feel a certain way, and then I just start talking about whatever's on my mind, and I just keep go, because most of my life I don't really have people to talk to. So it's just sort of repressed, and I'm like, I don't really have a chance to talk about things. And then now all of a sudden I have an opportunity to just open up and talk about things, and it's a fucking never-ending waterfall of fucking information. And granted, yes, I do that to a degree, yes, when it comes to, say, if I'm leaving a YouTube comment or a community post, or even sometimes I've talked to some people online about things, and I've literally sent massive pages of information to the point that I had to actually, I outdid the limit of, say, a Discord message by like 20 times, to where I had to actually take the message I tried to send, copy it, post it somewhere else, like in like a Word document, and then just like copy and paste it in like small paragraphs. And by small paragraphs, like each one was a rant of its own. And it took like 20 of them in order to like fill it, or 14 or something in one of them. And it's just like, yes, when it comes to typing something out or talking on the internet, if I type something out, it's massive. It goes on forever. And even then, I'm still holding back a lot that I could be saying. Even then. Like, even one of the times where here's the thing, when it comes to YouTube community posts, there is a 20,000 character limit. On a Twitter post, it's 150 characters. On YouTube, it's a 20,000 character limit. And there's times where I've written things that were close to 100,000 characters. Like, literally, I'm writing like full-on essays about bullshit. And that's basically what it is, because like, how else will you describe your feelings? Because it's bullshit, because nobody would fucking care. Then again, it's like, it's asking too much on my part. Like, it's like, hey, here's this thing that's like basically a 5-page essay about somebody that you don't know and you have no reason to actually care about. Why would someone take the time to read all of that? And then the answer is the why post it then. Simple. Because it makes me feel better to post it. Because it's kind of like the idea that, okay, if it's actually written down somewhere and put out there, then I can feel better that I've expressed it, and I can feel like I can move on a bit. And it's also the idea that, hey, if for whatever reason, if say I do die, then at least that record is left. Even if it's just out there on the internet, that at least then somebody knew that I existed, and they knew about the thoughts and feelings that I was having. Yeah, I know, it sounds dumb. But, yeah, I just like making these videos, but I get distracted. I mean, heck, I do videos sometimes where I read books, like Warhammer books. And I play games of every genre, whether it's a visual novel, a platformer, horror games, whatever genre I play. I play everything. And sometimes I talk about anime and stuff. Sometimes I talk about video games. Sometimes I try to make posts describing, like making comparisons. Like, hey, I made YouTube community posts where it's like, hey, let's have a vote. Do you prefer this character from Data Live or this character from Tenchi Muyo? Or where I was talking about, like, hey, here's some really cool animes, or here's some cool video games. Heck, I think they're making a Gex remaster trilogy, so hopefully my computer can handle that. It couldn't handle the Crash Bandicoot remaster or the Spyro remaster, but those are great games. Yeah, or sometimes I'll make karaoke videos. Or videos where I'm describing, like, hey, I'm trying to learn a different language. Or sometimes it's just, I'll make a video that's just straight up me talking about my feelings on certain things. Or just whatever random thing I come across, like, oh, it's tarot card stuff, or even like some stuff with the Bible. It's just whatever's on my mind. And of course, I'll play video games. And sometimes, especially with a visual novel that has a story, sometimes it has me thinking about other things, and I just sort of get carried. And like I said, it's just most of my life, I don't really talk about things that much. I think there was, about 15 years ago, some stuff happened, and it was, well, very depressing. And so I talked to some friends a bit. And yeah, I got carried away with talking to them about things because I had been bottling a lot of things up for a long time. And when I finally got to, a breaking point with that, where I had to talk to people, I couldn't stop. It was just so much coming out at once. And I feel like I annoyed them, but I still appreciate that they listened to me. I needed to talk to people. So, to the people I annoyed 15 years ago, when, stuff was happening, like, well, my eldest sister died. She had an aneurysm, and that, and then other things also happened around that same time. So I was kind of sad, and I annoyed my friends a lot by talking about my feelings because I was really sad. But in general, I'm a bit of a quiet person. I'll talk based on the conversation the other people around me are having. I'm good at being sociable in the regard that I can talk about what is, normal to talk about during a conversation. And even then, even if it's with people you care about, I mean, there's a lot of very personal things that are, well, stuff I would not want to talk about with anybody. It's just, even then, there's still some things that I'm not even comfortable talking about like this. But at least here, I at least feel able to open up and talk about things. At least I feel less alone. But then it would be, even if somebody did care, I mean, could you imagine sitting there listening to me go on a spiel like this for hours and hours and hours? And that wouldn't be very considerate on my part. I mean, one, part of a conversation is supposed to be a two-way back and forth, to where, you're supposed to have conversations with each other, and you're supposed to be listening to them, and they're supposed to be talk a bit. But even then, it also makes it hard to talk about things like this, because every time the other person would wind up talking about anything, it would wind up either changing the topic, or it would wind up, sort of making me self-conscious, to where, going back into that shell. Whereas here at this point, if there's nothing to sort of rein me in, then I'm able to stay out of that shell for a bit. And granted, I'm still not fully out of the shell on that. I'm able to open up without being self-conscious. And even then, I feel like a lot of things would either be too personal to talk about to people in real life, or, well, I feel like it'd be a bit inconsiderate. It's just overwhelming people. I know there's times I post things in community posts like it's too much, or even just me talking like this. How on earth could anyone sit through and listen to this video and not go insane? I mean, you'd have to be drinking a nice cup of hot cocoa or something. You're just sit there and just what the fuck's happening? I mean, at this point, you're what, having to level grind a video game while you listen to me ramble on about bullshit? Because that's basically what it is to all of you. Because, I mean, I'm just some random dude. Why would you care? Then again, like I said, it just makes me feel better to say it. Though granted, I should be making videos that are actually entertaining to people. Hey, let's have an exciting video game of horror and scary stuff and comedy and laughs and showing off a story of a game or an awesome platformer or new game mechanics in a MMO. Instead, it's just random guy nobody knows or cares about rambling on about his own personal feelings that really don't matter. Because then my thoughts and feelings, they don't matter. Why would anyone actually fucking care? I mean, if no one IRL cares enough to want to know about that stuff, why would people online care about the random faceless person? But no matter what, I still just enjoy making these videos. Whether it's a game where I stay focused and actually play the damn game, or if I even just, even right now, I'm enjoying being able to talk about things. But in real life, it's just most of the time I'm just quiet all the time. I don't really talk to people. And even then, even if I talk to people, even if I was friends with somebody, I'm not going to really talk about, these kinds of things. One, I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. I'd feel embarrassed. I'd feel self-conscious. And of course, it's a lot to ask somebody else. I mean, that's a lot of an emotional burden to put on somebody else from them to, listen to, even if they're your friend. And even then, if I'm hanging out with my friend, I'd rather just, hey, let's sit around and play Halo 3. Let's drink some Code Red Mountain Dew, eat some pizza, and just listen to, silly comedy shows and stuff. Or watch an action movie. I mean, I'd rather focus on the happy things than talk about my own sad, depressed feelings. If I'm hanging with my friends, I'm not even going to talk about that stuff. I just want to focus on playing the video games and having fun, watching an anime with my friends. I can ignore other feelings that I have, or being sad, or stuff that's bothering me, because I can deal with that on my own. I can walk down a fucking bike trail and have a conversation with like Morgan Freeman or something about it. That's fine. If I'm hanging out with my friends, we can just sit and play some Halo or something, or Call of Duty, and just drink some Mountain Dew and eat some pizza, and just chill and have fun. I don't know what the point of that was. I don't know. I'm gonna finish this and get some Dairy Queen.
でも待っててよかった。
So glad I waited. You really came. I'd almost given up because I thought you weren't coming. I'm so glad I waited. I was surprised she might have had the same kind of mentality I did, the kind that was pessimistic about everything. But there was one big difference between you and me. I was pessimistic and didn't do anything. You was pessimistic and took action. That was something I really respected about her. I wanted to be that way too, I thought.
一緒に帰ってくれますか?
Will you walk home with me? I nodded in response to her question. She and I headed for the school gate together. I felt kind of embarrassed as we walked home. It felt like the other students were shooting me jealous glances. The more I started to notice people staring, the more I started to freeze up. I would have known there was no way I could walk home. I should have known there was no way I could walk home. Well, I can't talk. I should have known there was no way I could walk home with a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Hello? That seemed to be a positive response in the person's face. I passed by a teacher I didn't recognize. Actually, the only reason I thought they were a teacher was that they were wearing a suit. Yeah, I mean, why else would a person in a suit be here? Either they're a teacher, or maybe they're like a vendor, like doing a business proposition for the school. Like, hey, we want to have this sports competition held here, and we'll advertise it to HeChap. Or it's like you're making a Team 4-star joke. Yes. But did we have any teachers that young? I rarely came to school, so of course I didn't know who our teachers were or what they looked like. Sometimes I even forgot my homeroom teacher's face. The teacher in the suit looked around, seemingly lost, before heading toward the school building.
どうしました?
Is something wrong?
Oh.
Oh. I quickly shook my head and started walking alongside her again. The base was 10 minutes away from the school, which was a bit further than the train station Shinsen Yua used to go home. So, I guess I was walking her home, instead of the other way around. Out of sheer habit, I walked us through Shoto Park. I mean, it's nice to walk through a park, and I mean, we're young, so we shouldn't, have a problem walking long distances. Cutting through it diagonally, shaved a minute or so off a commute. Heck, I used to be trained as a lifeguard back then. I had done things where I could, like, there was a thing where we had a concrete block that was at the bottom of like a 30-foot thing, so I swam 30 feet down. Or was it 18? Yeah, 18 sounds more reasonable. I think it was 18. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember something from... When did we do that? I think I was 13 years old. So... yeah, quite a while ago. Main point is that it was in this like lake or something. It wasn't a very big lake. It was maybe a couple miles across. But there was a part that was, partitioned off these little pontoon things that wasn't as deep as the rest. There was a concrete block at the bottom. Granted, normally they would drop like a little light up thing for you to swim down and see. That was light. Well, yeah, we're making a pun. It wasn't heavy, but it was also maybe a pound. And it had a light on it, but they didn't have it that day. So they're like, okay, you better wait till the next day to do this test because you had to swim down to the bottom, pick it up from the bottom, and then bring it back to the surface. And I was like, I don't want to wait. So there was a part that was the deeper part of the partition part that was, partitioned off with a concrete cinder block. So what I did is I swam to the bottom, I picked up the concrete cinder block, I did a squat off of the bottom of the lake, and then I, did a jump up, and it took everything I had to get back to the surface. I barely lifted the concrete block out of the water, showed it to them, and then put it back down. It sank down without ease, but then I just sort of halfway tried to swim to the edge where the pontoon was, and I sort of like temporarily started drowning because I was really tired. So, but then I just sort of swam back up a little bit, grabbed onto the edge, lifted myself up barely, just sort of like held there on the edge for a while, catching my breath. But yeah, we did things like I had to be able to swim a mile straight without stopping. And I could do that. I still didn't have a fucking six-pack then. Like I said, I've never been an athlete or an athletic person. But I mean, at least back then, that was the sort of stuff that everybody could do. Then again, I also wanted to have a punching bag, but couldn't afford one. So I had my Boy Scout camping pad. I would go out there with some bungee cords to this wooded area close to where I lived, and I'd wrap the foam around a tree, and I would punch the tree for a while. So I was playing Minecraft before everyone else. Problem is, it did kind of start to cut into your hand a bit. Apparently, even with a foam pad or not, you're not supposed to punch a tree. Though, while I do have an actual punching bag sort of thing now, main point is I'm not good at boxing. I try to copy some stuff from Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson's, basically one of the greatest boxers to ever live, and I am a non-athletic person who is not very physically strong. So I don't really feel like my ability to punch anything would be anything to brag about. But I don't know. I like learning martial arts stuff and boxing stuff, even though I'm terrible at it. So yeah, I wouldn't be a good fighter. I wouldn't be good at martial arts. I wouldn't be good at boxing. But I enjoy just doing it. Yes, I understand my ideas of hobbies is stupid. Doesn't matter. Whatever. Main point I'm trying to say is this. At one point, I was trained to be a lifeguard, do things like CPR, save people's lives. But here's the thing. That was forever ago. I haven't even gone swimming in 10 years. It's been 10 or so years since the last time I even stepped foot in a pool. I have not gone swimming at all. I don't think I even remember how to swim. Plus, swimming is a high-intensity cardio type thing. I probably can't do stuff like that anymore. I've been doing some jogging, but I am not very good at sprinting. I've tried to get back into it a little bit with the sprinting, but it definitely is a very foreign movement to me. I think the last time I was really trying to seriously sprint was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, or 2 years ago. I just know that it was on a treadmill. I increased the treadmill's speed 10 or so miles an hour, and my heart rate went to 200 plus, which also felt uncomfortable. And I'm like, well, that'll probably kill me. So I need to stop doing that. So let's just focus on jogging and walking. But yeah, I feel like I just keep getting weaker physically. I have less muscle all the time. And I look down and I can see a big fucking belly. I'm like, yep, I just keep getting fatter. And I'm tired all the time and I get out of breath. I have a fucking inhaler. Okay, so where were we? All right, love of nature. Well, I like going for walks. Heck, I remember when I was younger, I'd go for walks all over town. But sometimes I had to avoid certain areas because I'd start seeing people. Or I'd go to bike trails and stuff. It just, heck, I think it was about... Yeah, it would have been last summer, right? But yeah, I've gone to, there's a really big city, about an hour's drive from here. It has 1 million plus people in it, but it has this park in it. I went there and walked around for a bit, and it was really nice. So they do have like this suspension bridge that goes over a really big river, and or at least a creek or whatever. It's like a quarter-mile long bridge, and it's a suspension bridge. I'll say this: fear of heights was definitely triggering at that point. Like I was eventually like walking, holding onto the rail the whole way, just like watching the edge because there's nothing really stopping you. Like you literally could like fall over the edge easily, and heck, it's not like there's a barrier between you and the bottom part of the railing. It's just like cords holding it there in a triangle shaped manner. So I mean, I could just like crouch down and just walk through the handrails of the bridge pretty much, and it like falling from that height would be death, like 100% guarantee. Like there's no, even though you're falling into water, you know, you're going to die. And there's people walking there with their children, like little kids. There's a few times like I almost had a fucking panic attack because I saw little kids starting to like jog on it, and sometimes there were like little kids walking up to the edge, look over. I'm like, oh my god, no. And of course the parents look at me kind of odd. I'm like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just like looking at the kid, like, because I'm like, oh, what do they fall off? What do they fall off? They're gonna die. And it's like everyone's like, why do you care? It's not your kid. Like they're going to fall down. And it's like, yeah, like I'm just like watching them just in case they go to fall. I can try to catch them. Granted, my reflexes suck, but it's just like we're really high up, and of course I can feel the bridge moving under my feet, and I'm like, ah. It's like on the one hand the view's nice, but it's also like, oh my fucking god, we're so fucking high in the sky. Yes, everyone's like, Lunar D8's a pussy. He's scared of high places. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna fall down. It's like, and of course there's sometimes I stood there and just like on the railing, holding onto it, like watching it, like Amber's like, we've never heard a depressed person be this concerned about falling to their death. I'm like, just because I have depression doesn't mean I want to die. I actually want to live a long, happy life. I just feel really sad a lot. Okay? And of course I enjoyed the view. I enjoyed looking at the water. It was really pretty. And I enjoyed the trees in the background. It was like nice to watch them sway in the wind. But it wasn't fun to feel myself swaying in the wind on the goddamn suspension bridge. I also said this bridge looked really cool from a distance too. Like, I like engineering and artistic. I like engineering stuff. I like artistic stuff. I like architecture. Heck, you ever see the old school like Catholic churches that are really big, and the stained glass and the statues, all that? It's really pretty. I like it. I like the way the buildings and just the way they're like the arcs and arches and the way things are built together. It looks really cool. Yes, I know I'm a nerd of like every caliber. I get that. Okay, but I also like nature. I went camping a lot. Granted, I'm never going to sleep outside again. I camped. Like I did so much camping where I slept on tents, where I slept on the fucking ground. Granted, I had that little fucking foam thing under me, but it fucking was uncomfortable. I'm never camping outside. I enjoy my queen size mattress. Okay, I like sleeping indoors. Granted, I like thunderstorms, but I don't like being out in the thunderstorm. I don't like driving in a thunderstorm. I don't like walking in a thunderstorm. I do, however, like laying in bed listening to a thunderstorm. I like looking out the windows at thunderstorms. I like sitting out on my front porch, drinking some tea or drinking some Pepsi or drinking some hot cocoa, and just sitting there or standing there on my porch, just watching the rain. Sometimes if it's coming down really hard and it's like super heavy winds and rain is just coming down really hard and there's like lightning, boom, 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 thunder. It's nice just to sit there, casually sip my drink and just watch the weather. Yes, I know that's nerdy of me, but I like it, okay? Like, this sounds really nice. Walking with a cute girl who is my friend, who appreciates me and accepts me for who I am, enjoys my company, and we're out here walking and enjoying nature in a nice, beautiful day, and there's like trees and park and stuff. It sounds wonderful. Yes, I know I'm a nerd for wanting to enjoy something like that. Yes, I know only nerds enjoy nature and how buildings look cool. It's my bad. No, I'm not going to start talking about trains. But I want to. We're not doing that because nobody wants to hear that. Out of sheer habit, I walked us through Shoto Park. Now you're thinking about model Gundams. But those are awesome. Could you focus on the game? I walked us through Shoto Park. Cutting through it diagonally, shaved a minute or so off the commute. Why are we treating this like a speed run?
西条くんって朝よくこの公園でパンを食べてませんか？
You sometimes eat breakfast here in the morning, don't you?
あ、うん。
Oh, yeah. How did she know?
やっぱりよく見かけたんです。でもいる時といない時があって。
I thought so. I saw you here a lot, but some days you were here, and some days you weren't. Okay, so that's why you knew about our path to walk, and you'd seen us quite a bit. The reason you didn't see us every day was because we didn't go to school every day. And you just were here for your own reason, because you also go to school, and you also eat breakfast here. But you saw us, and you just had an interest, but you were too nervous to actually approach and talk to us.
今日ようやくその謎が解けました。学校にたまにしか来ないからだったんですね。
And today I finally found out the reason. It's because you only come to school a few days a week, right?
あ、別にそれがダメって言ってるわけじゃなくてですね。素朴な疑問だったので。
Oh, I'm not saying that's bad or anything. I'm just saying I was curious. I mean, yeah, that's how conversations work. I mean, you're not saying anything bad, just like we're talking to each other because we're curious and we just... That's how conversations work. So, yeah, you're cool. Thank you. It would not be appropriate to give her a head pat at this moment. Or a hug. But I would like to. I'd also like to get a head pat. And a hug.
うん。
Okay, I'm not Catholic, but what if you had like a body pillow and you had it blessed by the Pope? Like, what if you like got the Documentara thing and you went up to the Pope and like, hey, bless my Pope, bless my body pillow? Or what if you had like, what if you're like a military and you're like, you had like a ballistic missile and you went to the Pope and had the Pope bless your ballistic missiles? Yeah. Yua suddenly stopped and looked over at a bench where I always ate breakfast. Right now, it was empty.
なんだかここに座っているあなたの背中はすごく辛そうに見えて。
For some reason, whenever I saw you sitting there, you looked so sad. Yeah, it was probably just a trick of the sun. You know, the way the light just gleamed at the wrong angle. I probably should just wear sunglasses. She suddenly leaned forward, just a little, and ran her fingers across the back of the bench.
何度も見かけるうちに
Be careful, you might get a
だんだ
splinter.
ん気になってきて。
The more I saw you, the more I began to wonder about you. The bench was right in front of me, front of the fence surrounding the lake. Since I was always sat facing the lake, I didn't need to worry about anyone gazing at me. There was always a small water mill right next to it, which was another reason I liked it. It served to partially hide me.
ここ最近は姿を見かけなかった日は心配でご飯も喉を通らなかったりしてたんです。
Lately, on the days I didn't see you, I was so worried I couldn't eat. Really? I hadn't noticed her watching me at all.
バカみたいですよね。一度も話したこともない人の心配してるなんて。
It's silly, isn't it? Worrying so much about a person I'd never even talked to. I don't know, I'd say it's more endearing. So I would describe it in a positive light. Definitely shows empathy. But yeah, I would describe it as endearing.
でも話しかける勇気もなかったので。
But I didn't have the courage to talk to you. So that's why she was acting like a stalker at first. She wasn't a stalker, she was just really worried about me. Maybe.
ちょっと座ってみてもいいですか？
Can I sit down?
西条くんがどんな景色を見ていたのか、私も
I want
知
to
りたい
know
から。
what it is you're always looking at. Well, I mean, if we're facing the lake, we're probably looking at the water. I probably should save. It's gone on for a while. I need to really focus on just playing the game, or else this is going to take 500 multiple hour parts to get through the story. And that's even if there's only one. We'll save over this one. Chapter 1 of how many? But Yeah, it's taking us this long to get through one chapter. But I hope everyone had a good day, and if you have any suggestions for games you want to see me play, let me know. Like I said, I don't promise anything. If I do play a game, like I have 1,000+ games on my wish list. Every now and then I just see what's on sale, but more like if I buy a game, I'll buy it when it's on sale, save money. But one time I'll buy a game, for full price, will usually be if it's, the day it comes out, and that's like say the Deathmark game, like a game I'm looking forward to. But yeah, we'll go on to end the video. I hope everyone had a good day. Bye, everybody.